Uh, Being back at the helm here, I think I'm going to preach a sermon. We got to get this screen on if you can. There we go. I don't know what that is. Well, if you don't know me, because there are some faces that don't know me, I'm George Sayer. I'm the former senior pastor here, and it is good to be back. Y'all, I miss you. And I love you guys, and I love your elders, and it's just a joy. So, as you know, I'm with Ministry to State in Florida. And so, as I was talking to Andrew, it's like RUF in the state capitol. So the best way to describe it is like a chaplain in the government. And I actually do have a chaplaincy endorsement from the denomination that you don't have to have with Ministry to State, but I got it anyway because I can then tell, it's the same endorsement that our denomination gives chaplains in the military. And so I qualified for that. But I'll just do a quick update on the family because everybody's asking. And so there we are up there. The tall one is the youngest one, that's Asher. And he's just a basketball star and doing well in school, and just everybody loves Asher. That's just always the story there. I'll jump over to my wife, Susan, of course you know, but she is now working for the city of Tallahassee in their animal shelter. And if anybody knows my dog Camo and how well behaved he was, it's because my wife just has a way with animals. And so she loves her job, and my daughter Ariel actually serves there with Susan. And she's working her way up to be on the vet tech team, Ariel is. And so we're doing well. That's me on the right on the Senate floor. They were kind enough to put my name on the screen as I was talking to some people there. And really the theme is like, it's amazing what the Lord will do. Because it's been a humbling thing to show up in a place full of politicians and quote-unquote important people and wondering, what do I have to offer them? Why are they going to speak to me? What are they going to think like I want from them? And just see the Lord continue to open doors for that. And so the theme verse for this ministry for me, but all of us Ministry to State guys kind of use it, is 1 Timothy 2, where Paul says, first of all, then I urge that supplications, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgivings. So just like a litany of like, cover these people in prayer, be made for all people, for kings and all who are in high places, that we may lead a peaceful and quiet life, godly and dignified in every way. And what I find interesting about that is, in a lot of circles in Christianity, if you didn't know that was in the Bible, you would be told that's the prosperity gospel. That for you to pray for things that are in your own interest is not like a biblical gospel thing. And yet that's the first reason Paul tells us, is that pray for your leaders because it's in your best interest. But then, of course, this is good, and it is pleasing the sight of God our Savior, who desires all people to be saved and to come to the knowledge of the truth. And that's what I really view my mission there in the Capitol, is to point people to the truth of the gospel of Jesus Christ, if they don't know him, to help Christians who do know him walk in a manner worthy of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and regardless of where they are in the spectrum, point them to God's moral law, which we know through nature, such that we can live peaceful and quiet lives, godly and dignified in every way. And that's what I know your heart is for your own government. Our mission is there. It's fivefold. It's gospel first, helping them to understand a biblical worldview, a Christian conscience. There's also the church connection. We look to engage with the local church, and there's all kinds of ways that the Lord has enabled me to do that. And then it's a big prayer ministry. So the number one question I get anytime I tell people what I'm doing, every time, it never fails, have you met the governor? Do you get to meet with Ron DeSantis? No. And nobody does. Nobody does. But I have gotten to have lunch with his wife, with 10 other pastors in the governor's mansion, and I've been invited back there multiple times at this point. And Casey DeSantis is a godly woman that Ron has like kind of put in charge of faith-based connection to the local government. So as the government is doing social services for families in need, they recognize that the church coming alongside those families is going to help those families actually have a sustainable solution. So the government comes along one side, and they hope the churches will come along the other side. And I've developed relationships in the governor's faith office such that I get invited to things like this because I've become a help to them to connect pastors, particularly PCA pastors. There's 150 PCA churches in Florida with this initiative. And so that's been a huge blessing. So this is one pastor. He's a pastor in Tallahassee, and I got him. That's behind Ron DeSantis' desk, so you can say I was there. And I wish the lighting was better, but that's my wonderful daughter, the most beautiful date in the world. I was invited to this Easter festival at the governor's mansion, and I took my daughter as my date, and that was just worth, that picture's worth it all for me. And you know Ariel. So I do develop relationships with Reformed churches in the Capitol. There's about 5. These are pastors at 3 of them. I get to preach and teach there. I get to lead their people in prayer walks in the Capitol. And that's kind of how I'm trying to connect the local church to the government, is like when their people want to come to the government, I show them around. I show them what they can be praying for, who they can be praying for, and so on. The practical side of the ministry, it's a prayer and prayer card ministry. And so I seek to understand what's important to the elected people. I sit in on committee meetings and I get to hear them ask questions. I hear what's on their heart, and then I'll use that as a thing to pray for. So if somebody's really passionate about education and maybe special needs in education, I'll pray for that person. But then I'll go and try to talk to them, Democrat or Republican, and I'll go to their office. Sometimes their aide won't let me, like they're gatekeepers everywhere, you know. And very often it's cool because I'll just say, I'm just a pastor. I don't want anything. I just want to let Representative or Senator so-and-so know I'm grateful for them. Thank you. Here's a card, and I'm praying for them. And they hear this and they come out and they invite me in the office. And now I'm sitting there and I'm talking to them in their office, and I'm getting to just tell them what I'm doing there, tell them how I can help. Sometimes they give me their phone numbers. It's crazy how the Lord opens those doors. I'm leading a Bible study on Friday mornings that is for staff lawyers in the House and the Senate. And the funny thing is, like, these lawyers have been there for 20, 30 years. They're the ones that are actually writing the bills or the bill analyses. So at times I've been sitting in an office with them, and their bill is being presented upstairs, but we're watching it on the TV, and the guy goes, he's like, she's not going to know how to answer that question. Now, he's talking about the representative who is the sponsor of the bill, because these are the people writing the bills, but the representatives and senators often don't really know fully what's in there. I'm laughing, and it is a little funny, but the point is, like, there are so many ways to influence through the gospel and government that, everybody wants to know the big thing. Have you spoke to representatives and senators? And the answer is yes. But I just find this great joy in ministering to everybody in the government building, because I believe the whole thing needs the gospel of Jesus Christ. There's all kinds of ways I look to do church engagement. Here's some senators and representatives I've met with and prayed with. These are former students of mine when I was a teacher that I found in the Capitol. Daryl on the left is a representative. This was a kid I taught geometry to. And Amanda on the right, she, like, whenever there's something going on, she represents Donate Life, which is organ donation on the Capitol grounds. And so the same day I ran into both of them. It was hilarious. Daryl saw me and he invited me down onto the floor, which was cool. I get to meet fun people. If you don't know this sheriff, you can look him up. Some of you might, I see some people nodding. You can look up his daily updates. They're hilarious. I don't know if you're going to be able to find me in those pictures like Where's Waldo, but these are committee meetings, and I'm in there in those pictures listening or praying. And I believe in the power of prayer, whether they know I'm praying for them or not. And there's a lot of spiritual warfare that goes on in these meetings, because if they're doing a bill to protect kids from transing things or certain things going on in schools, the whole state comes up en masse to fight against these bills, and it's spiritual warfare going on in there. And so I'm just praying for those people. I take part in prayer walks. These occur sometimes. The people in the upper right picture are from the PCA, and I'll help them do that. I take them there. I think that's the Senate. Yeah. and just we pray over the seats. Okay, so what's the benefit to Meadowview? Now, I know we don't support missionaries for the benefit to the church, but there actually is, I think, a benefit to Meadowview, particularly like I'm in Florida. You can say, like, why are we supporting this thing in Florida? And one is, as I raise awareness in the PCA for ministry to state, we're going to grow in other states. And so I am actively trying to get you guys a North Carolina person. I mean that. I found the guy for Georgia. And so ministry to state leadership loves me because I can network, you know. So I did get the guy placed in Georgia, and I'm trying to get somebody here in North Carolina. As the ministry bears fruit in Florida, other states will follow suit. I mean, one thing that's happened, particularly since COVID and Ron DeSantis' sort of ascent and popularity, is other states follow Florida. And the thing is, there's a lot of Christianity in the government in Florida, honestly, and I think you'd say that in Washington, D.C. too, but a lot of it is kind of weird Christianity. And if you don't know what I mean, well, talk to me privately. But I hope to like be presenting the true gospel to these people and discipling them in the ways of the Lord. The United States is better with a godly Florida. And this one's going to be fun. So Florida politics is a pipeline to the federal government. And so I sit in a Bible study every Friday morning with these staff lawyers who I get in there and they're talking about Marco all the time. Because they remember Marco Rubio when he was wet behind the ears and they were having to help him along, and now he's running things in the country. So yeah, Marco Rubio is from Florida, obviously. You know, Pam Bondi, of course, she's no longer there, but she was from Florida. She was our Attorney General. This is the President's White House Chief of Staff from Florida politics. 14 United States legislators, senators, and representatives came through Florida government. That's Senator Rick Scott. He was our governor. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and she is still in the United States government. She was my representative when I lived in Florida. And the point is, don't you want these people to be godly? So there's well over 20 that are in high-profile positions, but there's hundreds that are working in Washington, D.C. that come through Florida government. Here I'm meeting with Secretary Michelle Branham on the right. She is our secretary over the Agency of Elder Affairs in Florida, but the federal government's Kennedy, what's his name, Robert Kennedy, who's the DHSS, the Health and Human Services, he just named her to the Trump administration advisory committee on Alzheimer's. And I get to sit and pray with her and talk to her. And the point is, like, what we're doing there affects the country. And I'm just in awe of it. Now, like I said, everybody wants to know if I met Ron DeSantis, do you meet these senators? And my point in this is, yes, I do. And I'm always honored and I'm always floored that that happens. But it's the daily relational building I'm making in the Capitol that amazes me. And so I'll give you one, I'll give you one story, and then I'll go. So, you know, you can imagine, I go there, now I got to figure out what to do. So I try to have a game plan every week and every day. And among that is I sit in, if they're meeting, I sit on committee meetings, I listen, I pray. Well, it's a Friday. They typically are not there on Fridays, the elected people, the legislators. And I was just kind of feeling down. And like, you know, I have to muster up energy to kind of meet somebody that doesn't know they want to meet you, you know. And so I wrote these prayer cards to 5 people that I had prayed for. I prayed for them, I wrote the cards, and I said, you know what, I'm leaving. I get in the elevator, I go downstairs, I get to the door, and I'm like, let me just try to deliver them. I was going to wait till next week. So I turn around. As I turn around, the elevators open up. There's like 10 elevators. Open up. Out comes one of the representatives, Susan Valdez, who I had one of my 5 cards was for her. Now, I haven't seen an elected person the entire day in the building, and there's hundreds of them. And the very one I could talk to, so she walked by me. I kind of was shocked. So I called out to her. And I told her, I said, Representative Valdez, I don't want anything from you. I just want to tell you I'm so grateful for you and your heart for kids and education. I wanted to thank you and tell you I'm praying for you, and here's just a thank you card. And she almost broke down and cried, gave me a huge hug, talked to me about how meaningful that was, and then that was the interaction. She went off, but then I just got the sense, like, what are the chances? Because if I had gone to see her from where I was, she would have already been heading down on the elevator. And if I didn't turn around when I did, I would have missed her. And it's just little things like that that remind me that the Lord is putting me there for a reason. And she needed to hear that for whatever meeting she was going to. And I have a lot of those kinds of stories. So thank you for your support and your prayers and your love. And I mean, it's so meaningful to me that I can stay connected to this church because you're in my prayers constantly. So thanks. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you could pray. We are closing on a house that we're buying on Monday. I got to get back tomorrow night so we can close on this house. It's a 3-2, which is going to be perfect for us, but it has an office that we're going to use as a guest room.
Okay, so I'm just, on a personal note, I'm just very grateful for George. The reason that I'm here at Meadowview is because of him. He was the one that interviewed me as you guys were looking for an assistant pastor 6 years ago. So I'm very grateful for him, how God used him and the session, obviously, for me to come here to serve with you. And, I love George. I'm always praying for you, brother. I'm just grateful for you and your family, your ministry. Thanks. Our next speaker, her name is Ashley Phillips, and she is the director of the homeless shelter here in Lexington, right? So she has been serving as the director of the homeless shelter for 7 years. And this is it's a huge need for this ministry, especially in this area. Okay, so I'm going to ask Ashley to come up and share with us.
So glad to be here. Thank you for the invite. See if I can make sure I know how to operate this thing. Again, I'm Ashley Phillips. I am the director with Davidson County First Hope Ministries. A lot of you may know that as Crisis Ministry of Davidson County. We rebranded into First Hope Ministries back in 2003 just to get away from the word crisis. We wanted it to be a place where folks can come and get hope. So that's where the name Davidson County First Hope Ministries came from. We still do the same operations. Everything is still the same. So Davidson County First Hope Ministries is the only homeless shelter in Davidson County. We house single adults and we also have families. And the homeless shelter is for folks that lack housing. We also have a food pantry. Our food pantry, all the food that goes into the food pantry is all by donations from community. It can be individuals, churches. That's how we get our food for the pantry. Folks in the community are able to get assistance from the pantry every 3 months as needed. They come to the office, quick application. Our clothing closet is also every 3 months. And the clothing closet, again, is donations. The clothing closet can consist of household items, clothing, bed linen, pillows, really anything that someone may need, because not only can folks at the shelter come and shop, it's also for folks in the community. So we may have a family that comes and needs school clothes for their kids. They're able to come and shop for themselves and their families and get the items that they need. And again, that's every 3 months that folks can come in and receive that assistance. So let's talk about the homeless shelter. So The adult shelter can accommodate 48 males and 16 females. Once a client is checked into the shelter, they are then assigned a case manager within 48 hours that helps those folks stay on topic, stay on task, that begin their journey to success. We operate a program-based shelter, and that's the men's dorm on the left and the female dorm on the right. That's their dining room, where churches come in and serve an evening meal. That's where we have Bible studies. A lot of things take place in that dining room. That was some decorations that we had this past fall. Again, the clothing closet every 3 months for assistance, and those are free to anyone in need. And those are just some pictures of the clothing closet. Last year, we helped around 5,000 families with clothing assistance. Our food pantry, again, is for folks in the community that are in need of food to feed their families. And those are just some food. Of course, right now, our shelves do not look like that. Those are some little old pictures. But we do see roughly about 4,000 to 5,000 families on a yearly basis that need our assistance. And gracious folks in our community that are the reason why we are able to assist those. And then, of course, volunteers. We are always in need of volunteers in our food pantry, in our clothing closet, sorting through donations. These are just a couple of the volunteers that come and help us throughout the year, but we have over 2,000 volunteers that help the homeless shelter on a yearly basis. We are very blessed. Our family shelter can accommodate 7 families. Each family that comes in is assigned a case manager to create individualized housing plans to put the client's road for success. That's a picture of Genesis House. That is our family shelter. That is the kids decorating pumpkins this past Halloween, and the picture with the sofas is their living room area. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that supports the ministry. We could not do it without you guys. We are very blessed, very thankful that we are able to make a difference in the lives of others and showing the love of Jesus Christ. Thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me for standing down here, but I got a little vertigo going, and I didn't want to go face down on the podium upstairs there. My privilege to introduce Janice Hurley, who's Executive Director of Davidson Medical Ministries. A brief background, I want to be a little more than Green did here. Most of you, the old timers, the gray hairs in this room, I'm sure know. The Davidson Medical Ministries was the brainchild of our own Dr. Jim Slyman 35 years ago. It was primarily because there were so many people in this county that did not have health care because they were underinsured, or whatever, and couldn't get into the system. His idea was to get volunteer docs to come one day a week to see these patients for free. And from there, 35 years later, fast forward, you wouldn't even recognize Davidson Medical Ministries anymore. It is really one of the prime movers and shakers in this community for low-income people, both not just on the medical side, now coordinating on the housing side, the prison ministries, and that sort of thing. The whole purpose of Davidson Medical Ministries and what they call DC Connect now is trying to get these organizations to work together and coordinate better. And it's been very, very successful. A lot of it has to do with Janice Hurley. She's been here before to talk to the seniors, and she's got a presentation, I think, that you'll enjoy as well. So, Janice, come on, going up there. Okay.
Good evening. As John said, I'm the Executive Director of Davidson Medical Ministries, and it's a privilege to be here tonight. As John has well said, in 1989, Dr. James Slyman had a vision to provide hope and healing through access to quality health care for everyone in Davidson County. And back then, we didn't have the word social determinants of health, but today we do. And so we knew then that someone's not going to come and see us for direct medical care if they don't have their basic needs met. And so at Davidson Medical Ministries, we've done this all along in providing for those basic needs. Back in 1992, when we saw our first patient, we had neighbors who brought people to the doctor. We had neighbors who helped when there were needs. That's not how our community operates as much today. And so we have a program called DC Connect. And I could tell you lots of stories, but I think it's better if one of our recipients of services shares her story with you. This story is in Spanish and English, as she is primarily a Spanish speaker. And so I hope that this gives you a glimpse of the privilege we have to serve the people of Davidson County.
Hi, my name is Michelle Wood, and I'm the Program Administrator of DC Connect, a program of Davidson Medical Ministries. We are a gateway to community resources for those in Davidson County, and our areas of focus are those who are post-incarcerated, who struggle with substance use disorder, and people without a home. We will not turn anyone away from resources if they don't fit into one of those areas of focus. Our goal is to support our clients through every step of their journey, from crisis to hope to long-term sustainability, by equipping them with the resources they need to live a sustainable life. DC Connect is made possible through the collaboration of over 50 partner agencies. We are committed to providing individualized care by dedicating the time and resources necessary to understand and fully address each person's unique needs. Our approach is thorough and tailored, recognizing that every individual's journey is different and requires a comprehensive plan to support their long-term well-being. Success stories remind us why this work matters and is so important. So one of our community health workers, Judy, is going to talk with one of her clients and share a success story with you all.
Hi, my name is Judy. I'm a community health worker here at DC Connect, Davidson Medical Ministries, and this is Jennifer Hernandez, and I'll let her tell her story.
Hola, mi nombre es Jennifer Hernández, soy madre soltera de 3 niños. Hace, pues en el 2024, en octubre, yo entré a este país buscando asilo.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Hernandez. I am a single mother of 3 children, and I came in October of 2024 seeking asylum.
Tuve que salir de mi país huyendo por la delincuencia que está bien fuerte.
I came fleeing due to crimes happening in my country.
Y para mí no ha sido fácil desde que yo entré acá, porque se me han presentado muchas dificultades, principalmente el idioma, que yo no lo hablo, no lo conozco. Segundo, que pues prácticamente yo no conozco a nadie acá. Vine a un país donde no conozco a nadie, no conozco el idioma, estoy sola con mis hijos.
I came to this country having a language barrier, not knowing anybody, not having support with my children, and so it has been very difficult for me to navigate the United States.
También tuve que pasar situaciones incómodas, de las cuales pues una de ellas fue que fui a dar a un shelter con mis hijos. Duré más o menos poco más de un mes allí. Al tiempo después del mes y medio conocí a Davidson Ministry.
Okay. And a month later, after being at the shelter, that's when DC Connect and Davidson Medical Ministries connected with me.
Ellos me ayudaron con vivienda en un lugar que era un hogar para mujeres. Pues eso fue el primer paso para yo poder estabilizarme un poco en mi situación y sentir un poco de apoyo acá en este país donde no conozco a nadie.
So in May of 2025, I was connected to a shared living space for women. And DMM and DC Connect was able to connect me to that. And I felt a little bit more supportive.
Los niños ya estaban estudiando, pero pues necesitaban unas vacunas para seguir, o sea, continuar recibiendo las clases, cosa que también ellos me ayudaron con poder agendar citas y con la transportación.
Her kids they were already in school and they just needed immunization records. So we were able to connect them to Contegra Health so that her children could continue going to school.
Bueno, pues gracias a Dios pues pudieron ayudarme con eso y pues ya me siento mejor y también me ayudaron a poder meter a mi hija con un programa o una aplicación, no sé cómo, para ella poder entrar a la escuela.
So thank God I was able to receive the dental services. I feel better about myself and I don't have that discomfort. We were able to also do an application with Smart Start so that her daughter could start pre-K. So we helped with that and Aitana is now in pre-K.
Era un lugar que acababan de abrir el restaurante.
Oh, okay.
Y pues me llevaron a aplicar para ver si podía trabajar y ese día de mi entrevista me dijeron que me presentara el otro día y pues así pude agarrar también pues un trabajo. Gracias a ellos, que ellos me llevaron a ese lugar.
So in November of 2025, we assisted with transportation with taking her to apply to a job. And thank goodness, within that first job interview she had, they told her basically come the next day. And she was able to get connected to a Spanish-speaking restaurant. And that helped a lot because she doesn't have to go through the language barriers. And now she is kitchen lead.
A pesar de todo lo que se me ha interpuesto en el camino, de los procesos que he tenido que pasar y sobrellevar, siendo pues madre, pues siendo el único sostén de mi casa, a pesar de mi cansancio, de mi esfuerzo, mi sacrificio y todo lo que se me interpone, pues trato la manera de no rendirme y seguir luchando para que pues a mis hijos no les falte nada y que tengan lo necesario.
Despite the barriers she continues to face, she remains resilient and she's honestly truly inspiring just to see how she pushes through.
Pues primero que nada pues estoy agradecida, porque sin la ayuda de ustedes no hubiera podido pues lograr lo que hasta ahora tengo y pues dar ese primer paso que necesitaba para poder yo estabilizarme, principalmente en tener un lugar para mis hijos y poder conseguir un trabajo y sentir esa tranquilidad de saber que había alguien para apoyarme.
First and foremost, she is thankful for DC Connect and for us being there to help with the process of getting her housing, to getting her connected to different services, to her job, and just to feel like she has that support. That means a lot to her.
No, pues estoy agradecida con Judy porque pues no solo me ha ayudado, digamos, en la transportación y ayudarme con las cosas materiales, se puede decir, sino que pues sé que puedo pues expresarme o no sé. No tengo familia aquí.
No, you're okay. She's thankful for me, for just listening to her, for letting her vent out when she needs to vent out. She says that I'm just not there for just transportation or, for things that I can take her to or provide for, but she's just thankful because she doesn't have family here, so.
Pero no sé cómo decirlo, pero siento como, pues la veo tal vez como una hermana. No.
Oh. She says she sees me as a sister.
Y pues, no sé, es bien comprensible, es amable, es de buenos sentimientos también, es como corazón de pollito también. Y
she says that I'm very caring and kind of loving.
Pero sí estoy agradecida con todos y con todos los que me han ayudado, con Judy, con Janice y con todas las personas que han puesto un granito de arena para yo poder seguir adelante, a pesar de todo lo que me ha pasado, que pues no ha sido fácil, pero pues yo sigo luchando por mis hijos.
She's thankful with all the organizations, all the partners that have helped her. It means a lot to her. No, me vas a llorar. No, estoy tratando de no llorar.
Thanks so much for sharing your story, Jennifer.
Gracias por compartir tu historia.
We're so thankful that you got connected with us and that you are now part of our story.
Estamos agradecidos de que pudo conectarse con nosotros y ahora es parte de nuestra historia.
And we are here for you.
Y estamos aquí para ti.
Muchas gracias. Yo también estoy muy agradecida y pues que Dios los siga bendiciendo para que pues sigan ayudando a más personas que como yo pues necesitan.
I'm thankful for DC Connect as well, and I'm glad that y'all are here, so if there's other people like me that you're able to assist.
Several of the resources that Jennifer was connected to were highlighted in her story. However, I just want to take time and go through each partner agency and resource that we were able to connect her to. Family Services of Davidson County gave her a shelter and a place for her and her children to stay. And that's, again, when we were first connected to her. Contegra Health helped with immunizations for her children and helped provide medical care for her as well. My Dentaville provided dental care for her. Judy saw a Facebook post from My Dentaville where they were looking for 2 candidates who had a need for dental care, were uninsured, they had to have experienced a life change in the last year, and they had to be a resident of Davidson County. And Jennifer was one of the 2 candidates that was chosen to receive dental resources. Smart Start of Davidson County, she was able to enroll her daughter in pre-K. City Lights Ministries in Winston-Salem provided bunk beds for all of her children when she was transitioning into the shared women's space. North Lexington Baptist Church gave her food boxes each week, and then she also took ESL classes.
The Dragonfly House provided developmentally appropriate forensic interviews for the family. Alpha Pregnancy Support,
RHA, Atrium, Worthy Women's Ministries, Home Solutions of Davidson County, and Goodwill all provided household supplies when she moved to the shared women's space. Davidson County Social Services, Judy helped with the recertification process for her children's Medicaid. Judy also helped with the recertification process for WIC for Jennifer with the health department. And then lastly, as Jennifer mentioned, DC Connect provided countless transportation trips to and from medical visits for her and her children, which we are so happy and thankful that we're able to do that for our clients. And then Judy provided transportation while Jennifer was job searching. And Judy actually provided transportation to and from work for Jennifer during the first week or week and a half that she found a job. So that was all Judy. Thanks so much for all that you do.
Last year, our churches gave just under $35,000 to make hope and healing a possibility for everyone in Davidson County. And so we couldn't do that alone. As you saw with DC Connect, we are a gateway to community resources. And instead of sending someone all across Davidson County's 567 miles, we do that in one spot. And so we are able to fill out 98% of the applications for people and to give a soft handoff to those people if we do indeed need to do that. And so we know that we cannot just meet the healthcare needs of someone, that we have to look to the whole person, and that's where our churches come in and to provide hope and healing. And so we are just very thankful for the support that you give. And today I had the privilege of having lunch with Jennifer and her children. And they're asking lots of questions about why we care and why we do this work. And they have been connected with several churches in a very positive manner here in Lexington. And so that's a part of their story. And we pray that the Lord giveth the increase and that they know Christ. And so that's ultimately why we do the work we do in providing hope and healing through access to quality health care. Thank you.